Welcome to Supporting and Growing Communication. As support staff, your role is vital in helping our students with communication deficits to build their communication capacity. Please take a moment to read today's aspirational goal. Today's outcome is for each participant to name one strategy that can be used to support a student with communication deficits. As the presentation unfolds, think about a student you currently support or perhaps supported in the past. When a speech-language pathologist is assessing a student's communication skills, they are building a profile of strengths and weaknesses while asking themselves if the pattern indicates a communication delay, disorder, or difference, or possibly a combination of two or more. Let's define each term. Delayed communication skills indicate that a child is developing their language at a slower rate than their same-aged peers. This may be due to a cognitive deficit, such as an intellectual disability, or another developmental delay. The pattern of communication skills may show strengths and weaknesses, but the skills themselves are developing at a slower rate than children their own age. In other cases, a student may meet other developmental milestones, such as sitting up or walking, but their communication skills emerge later than expected. In both cases, the students require intervention, but this intervention consists of intensive support to build skills, but not necessarily remediation. On the other hand, disordered communication skills indicate that there is a breakdown in the typical progression of skills. These students may demonstrate a speech disorder with errors in sound production that makes them difficult to understand. There could be a pattern of errors, such as omissions, or substitutions, such as t for s or k. Be aware that this does not include a kindergartner who may have difficulty saying R. These students may have such difficulty forming and then organizing their sound system that it impacts their learning and social skill development. Other students may demonstrate language processing disorders. They find it difficult to learn new things, remember, follow directions, and respond to questions in class. Yet other students struggle with social communication. They have a hard time learning and applying rules for interacting with others. They may make a comment or ask a question that confuses others, or they may misinterpret comments or questions asked by others. These are students who demonstrate deficits, and there are students who demonstrate deficits in all of these areas and require your help to navigate through their day and require direct support to remediate their skills. Students who demonstrate language differences do not typically receive direct support from a speech-language pathologist, but that doesn't mean they can't benefit from the language models of their community. Generally, these students meet developmental milestones, but present with a dialect different from most of their school community, or come from a home where another language is spoken. If they require support, it is usually not from a speech-language pathologist, but could be from other support staff, such as an EL teacher. First and foremost, speak to these students, not at them or through them. There are fewer things in life that are more frustrated than being rendered invisible in a conversation in which your presence is not acknowledged or your intent is not valued. No one enjoys not having a voice. Let's talk about what you can do to support these students. Remember, all children and adults, for that matter, understand far more than they can say. So be a model. Speak clearly and slowly. However, make sure to use an appropriate tone of voice. No baby talk. Use appropriate sentence structure, even if sentences need to remain basic. Incorporate the vocabulary of the classroom. Students with communication deficits need many opportunities to hear new words so they can begin to use them in their own sentences. Teachers and case managers will be able to provide general guidelines on the developmental level of the students you support. We want to build capacity, not cause frustration, through expectations that are too low or too high. Engage students in conversation about topics they enjoy or have prior knowledge. We all talk more about things we know and like to do, and our students are no different. Try to ask open-ended questions that require more than a 1 to 2 word response. Try not to just ask questions to which you already know the answer, so the exchange is more natural. Communication isn't a one-way street, so be prepared to answer questions. In fact, encourage it while speaking to students. For students with limited or emergent communication skills, or whose utterances contain obvious errors, repeat back what they say while fixing the errors without calling attention to them. For instance, I told that Cho becomes, "Oh, you saw a show last night. What about it?" Truck becomes, "Yes, it is a blue truck." Try to avoid using words like it and there, as in, put that over there. Use the real words. We want to provide them with vocabulary choices. Provide feedback on what students are saying and doing, but be specific. Good job is fairly vague praise, so instead, think about saying, "You finished the math problem," or "I like how you came up with your own topic sentence." Ask quality questions. There is actually a hierarchy of question complexity, beginning with yes, no, then multiple choice with one or more words, WH questions with right there responses, and other questions that require more thought, such as inferential questions. Speak to the speech-language pathologist, teacher, and case manager about where the student falls on this hierarchy. Once students have fairly stable skills, we want to avoid questions that guide students to just one word or one thought. Model your thinking and problem solving. Students with communication deficits can quickly become frustrated if they can't use language to solve a problem. So if we model what to do if we are frustrated, they gain experience for what to do in a similar situation. Another way to build language is to embed its development in literacy. Reading and writing are intricately tied to listening and speaking. The more students are exposed to how we talk about what we read or notice while we read, the more they can build capacity for language and literacy. Shared reading is an early literacy technique anyone can use to share a love of reading and build communication skills. Specifically, build vocabulary skills. Students with communication deficits often have difficulty learning the vocabulary concepts of the classroom, so additional practice with these words is a bonus. Here's an easy technique. Take a vocabulary list the teacher provides. Make individual word cards with picture support if necessary. Manipulate the word cards into categories or make trails with the words to show how they fit together, and talk about how they are linked in your mind. The student may have a different organizational schema, which is fine. We just want to talk about words. You may assume all of the previous slides pertain only to students who are oral communicators. This could not be further from the truth. Students using sign or assistive technology benefit from all of the strategies listed. However, be aware that an AAC has its own set of priorities. Both low-tech and high-tech systems should be readily available. They are the voice of the student, not an afterthought. Using the devices effectively takes training, practice, time, reflection, and adjustment. There is a team of professionals, including yourself, who are willing to support the students and their families and peers. The assistive technology team offers periodic sessions or will visit classrooms to offer direct support. They provide the why and how. Classroom teachers and speech-language pathologists support the curriculum and inform practice. They provide the what and the when. Instructional support staff provide the where and how many. Devices come in all shapes and sizes, but have one thing in common. They are essential to the development and overall well-being of the student. One last thought. Sometimes it's okay to say nothing. We tend to worry about empty space in conversations, But sometimes it is precisely what students need. They need time to process and act on what you've said. Too many words spoken too quickly are confusing and frustrating. Rephrasing a question or direction may be interpreted as a new question or direction. Repeating a question or direction too quickly may make them feel anxious or frustrated. It is all just reminiscent of the adults in the Charlie Brown cartoons. Remember, there's always more to learn, so ask questions, attend trainings, and observe others to improve your practice. Thank you.